Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope you all are having a great day. So the Cowboys have been left wanting. Okay, we've heard we're going to bust the bank and we're going to do a whole lot of things. Cowboy fans are kind of waiting to see what bust the bank actually means, because they're looking at it and saying you still haven't yet to pay a free agent more than $10 million. Don't get me wrong, the Cowboys have made some good moves, but we still have a very young, unproven linebacking core. And when we'd heard that the Cowboys would be interested in the Kobe Dean and things like that, and we didn't do anything as far as that. We didn't even get anywhere close to Nakobe Dean. And then, of course, we also heard that the Cowboys were interested in Devin Lloyd, but they failed to launch on that one and figured that the price for that was way out of their range and didn't do anything about it. So now we've heard that the Cowboys are pivoting on two other guys that aren't free agents. Now, everybody's talked about Bobby Wagner. Go get Bobby Wagner. You know, he's 35 years old. Some people say he might have been the greatest linebacker in football. He's closing in the NFL record as far as tackles for a career, so he is a great player. One of the players that they've been talking about or discussing is Al Shaair. Al Shaair, excuse me, let me make sure I get that right. Al Shaair, who originally was drafted by the 49ers and played really well for them in 2021. He's in the league since 2019. He's 28 years old, definitely plays downhill with reckless abandon. He is 228 pounds, 6 foot, not a real tall guy, but he comes like a ton of bricks. In fact, hopefully I won't get copyrighted. This is somebody's highlights. This is from back in 23 season when he was with the Tennessee Titans. He was with the Titans for 1 year and had a monster season, had 84 combined tackles, 79 assisted tackles, ended up with 158 tackles in the season with 2 sacks. But has been the last 2 years, part of the Texans defense that was number 1 in the NFL last year. Now, I'm seeing an article here that basically is throwing cold water on, this is a Dallas Cowboys news. Now, I have not seen this, but this is where somebody has said it's going to be pretty tough to get Al Shaair. B.A.M. reaction to the report that the Cowboys' interest felt like a bucket of cold water for those hopeful of a trade of it. The Texans have no plans to part ways with him. Even if the Cowboys are interested, a potential extension is still on the table. Yeah. But here's the but. He's in the final year of his contract and will turn 29 in August. With the Houston's having a bunch of big contracts coming up, it would make sense for them to move him. Awesome player, would love him for Dallas. That's Marcus Mosher. So, the plot thickens. So, do the Cowboys make a move here and have to overpay? Devin Lloyd, you didn't have to pay anything other than cash, and they didn't want to get in a bidding war. This is the Cowboys. The Cowboys, penny wise and pound foolish. They do not do well when it comes to free agency and having to actually bid against somebody, which is why they typically go bottom basement. And the Cowboys' history of linebackers, and I think back to Anthony Barr, that they signed during training camp, who was coming off of an ACL. I remember that because I was there at training camp the second week when they were in pads and him having to stand on the sidelines because his leg wasn't there. Yeah, because he was rehabbing. Didn't want to get into the mix. Kenneth Murray, they signed because nobody else was really interested in. And when you start thinking about the Cowboys' moves, the thing is, instead of going out and getting legitimate talent, they would rather get a guy for a year and let him go. But when you start adding up $5-6 million, a year, every year for somebody who doesn't work, you're not really saving any money. Well, you're saving cash, but in the end, you're not really saving yourself and getting what you need. Had you brought in, now just think about this. In 21, Bobby Wagner was interested in coming here. What if the Cowboys had just paid Bobby Wagner and you had for 4 seasons the 500 plus tackles at linebacker, right? What if you had signed a Demario Davis in 2017 and he became the heart and soul of your defense and, of course, was uninjured? Then you didn't spend a pick on Leighton Vander Esch. You didn't sign Anthony Barr. You didn't bring in Kenneth Murray. Those are all things you got to put into the equation when you say we're going to pay a guy. If you're going to pay a guy, make sure it's going to be somebody that has staying power, not just going to be a guy that's going to get me by. That's the biggest problem that I have with my team, my Cowboys, is they penny pinch so much that they end up buying the same thing. I've learned myself through years of doing construction work, and this is where I'd rather go ahead and do it right and buy something that's good than something that's just going to get me by. I hate buying something cheap, whether it's, if I'm going to buy tools, I buy good ones because I know how hard I'm going to be on those tools. And so I want something that's going to last me. I don't want to have to, a month or two from now, buy a new drill because I bought a cheap one. You spend $75 for the drill and you got to buy it twice. Well, you could have bought the good one and it's still going and you didn't gone through 2. And that's the problem with the Cowboys. We'll see if the Cowboys are serious or if this is just deflection on the Cowboys. We have one other one that they supposedly have pivoted to, and I'll be back later with that one.